Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires PayPal split on auto-pay stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Are you in search of a fulfilling career where you can work on a team that provides you room to grow, learn, and thrive every day? Focus Engineering and Surveying is looking for individuals to join their team who take pride in the customer service they provide and have a passion for their clients to be successful. No experience in engineering, CAD design, or surveying? No problem. Focus will train those who fit their team culture for rewarding careers in surveying and CAD design. If you can align with the core ideology and the Focus team culture, if you're internally driven, team-oriented, client-focused, and love personal development and growth, Focus Engineering and Surveying is the place for you. Enjoy a positive work environment and paid internship opportunities, plus fantastic benefits like great health care with 80% employer-paid premium and HSA matched up to $200 per month, 401k, vacation, even annual performance bonuses. Start your journey towards your new and fulfilling career. Apply now at FocusUtah.com. That's FocusUtah.com.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio. Eye on the Hill 2025. Special coverage on Inside Sources.
We've got to have something like 20 new representatives in the legislature this year, a huge number. And there's only 29 state senators and 75 state representatives. They make up the Utah State Legislature.
Can you pause for just a second?
Yeah.
So if it's like 20, that's how do I say? Was this election a lot of turnover, or do you feel like that's in the normal run of things?
I think it's actually quite a bit. From when I was there like 8 years ago, I think there's only like 10 that are still there from 8 years ago. So we have this idea of our politicians serving forever, and there are some, of course, that do, but that's mostly on the federal level. It seems like in the legislature, if you go about 10 years, you have a completely new legislature, which is kind of cool to see. The Senate has remained mostly the same. All of their new members came from the House. So they've all been in the legislature, but the House is totally different. Senators serve 4-year terms, and the Senate's up, or the House is up for election every 2 years. So state reps on the 2-year cycle, they represent about 45,000 people. Senators are a little over 100,000 people. And so we thought it'd be fun, a little interesting, to chat with a brand new legislator to get their thoughts on the session, what kind of surprised them. And we have kind of a argue a rising star in the Republican Party in the legislature. And the reason I say that is because when I came into the legislature, I was the bottom of the totem pole. You know, you go to committees, and this Representative Doug Fiafia from House District 48, which is a Harriman-Riverton area, he starts out as a vice chair of a pretty tough committee. And so he's got a lot on his plate, and it's going to be fun to talk to him. Representative Fiafia, thanks so much for being on the show.
Adam, thank you so much for having me.
All right. I got to know, is it what you expected? When you came in the first day, you've gone to meetings, you've, quote, drunk from the fire hose, unquote. Talk to me about how that's been. What surprises are there?
Great question. It's been exciting, humbling, and as you said, it's been a fast-paced experience. Before the session, there was just a ton of preparation, learning the legislative process, meeting with constituents, and working on bills to make sure they're strong and well thought out. And I've spent a lot of time listening to people in my district, understanding their concerns, and just collaborating with colleagues to find out what are good policy solutions for some of the problems that I'm hearing. And now that we're in session and it's underway, everything moves quickly. The day starts out early, often goes late, with committee meetings, floor debates, and a lot of discussions behind the scenes to make sure that we're crafting policies that truly serve Utahns. It's really, as you know, Adam, it's a balancing act, keeping up with legislation, staying connected with constituents, and making sure every decision is made thoughtfully. And so if you follow me on social media, I try to bring along my constituents with things that are happening in the day, because I wanted to make sure I kind of demystified the legislature and the whole view of what a politician is in today's world, and just kind of show the human side that, you know, I'm going into my first committee presenting a bill, and I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't know how it's going to turn out. And so it's been quite the fire hose and the whirlwind. I feel like I'm drowning a lot of the time, but it's exciting to wake up every morning, know that I'm coming in to work to solve real problems for Utahns.
All right, Representative Fiafia, I love that, right? Actually, what elected officials do is solve problems. I think sometimes we forget that that's why people...
They never create new ones.
Well, they probably in the solution of a problem, they create some new ones, right? But Representative Fiafia, what are the, in your first year, what's the big problem you are trying to solve? Like, what is your favorite bill that you are running?
My favorite bill right now is HB 302, and it discusses minors in state custody. This is some of the most vulnerable people in our population, but it's not only minors in our state custody, it's minors in state custody who've lost their parents. So federal law today states that they should be receiving Social Security survivor benefits. That same federal law allows the state to intercept those benefits and use it to offset care of the full foster care program. Now, me coming in as a newbie, I think that that's morally wrong. These kids don't have a backup plan. They don't have a community around them to support them. When they turn 18, the state pushes them out into the world and expects them to be adults, and yet we haven't set them up for success. We've done quite the opposite. We've actually taken all of the benefits that should have gone to them and used it for our budgets. And so my bill, what it does is it sets this money aside. It creates an account for them, so that when they age out, they have the ability to use this money for education, to buy a car, to go to and from work, to pay for rent, or to put a down payment on a house. And so it really is a launching pad for these individuals who really don't have that support going out into the world. And we've seen what happens with this population when they turn 18. 1 in 4 of them will be homeless on day one. Over 50% of them will be incarcerated. 50% won't actually even graduate from high school. And so I think this is a step in the right direction to make sure that we're setting them up for success, but also just giving back to them what is already theirs, which are these benefits. So that's the thing I'm most excited about.
That's a noble cause to be working on. I think I changed state auditing requirements to go from 3 days to 4 business days, and I think we made a lot of lasting difference when I was in the legislature.
But I'm like, was that noble, Adam? Did you feel that?
I didn't feel very noble. So, okay, you have lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of people that have reached out to you. Hopefully constituents aren't asking about advice on running for your office. But if you have people that are thinking about running for office, what advice would you give them?
I would say to learn. I think sometimes we feel like we're the right person for the position, but there's so much that goes into becoming a legislator or even a city leader or any type of elected official. And I what I did initially before I even made my decision is I met with all three mayors in my district. I met with as many city council members as I could, and I wanted to learn about what are the issues that are facing our community. And after taking that in, I decided that I wasn't going to run unless I crossed off two boxes, which was, one, I could make a difference, and two, that there was something unique that I brought to the table. And so after kind of going through that whole process, I felt comfortable checking those two boxes and felt like, hey, I really think I can make a difference. And there's experience that I've had in my professional career and in my personal life that I think there's something unique that I could add to the legislature. And so I would just spend time to really learn about what the area and what people in your community care about. And if it's something that you feel like you can make a difference, then I would say go ahead and run. I think it's always a good decision if you could first learn and then two, kind of check off those two boxes.
Now, I love that, Representative Fiafia. Like when we ask people, right, why did you run? There's always an origin story. I always tell my students, there's an origin story for every elected official. And we've only got like half a minute left for you. So what was the issue? Do you know what I mean? That really made you go, oh, no, I am unique and I can fix this.
30 seconds.
Melolini, Dominica, Eleanor, and Douglas Jr., my 4 kids. I worry about their future, and I wanted to make a difference for them and all the rest of the kids and our future generations in Utah.
Hey, that's a great answer right off the tip of your tongue.
He is noble, Adam. You are not wrong.
I was not wrong. Hey, Representative Fiafia, thanks so much for being with us. Coming up at the second hour of Inside Sources, what's the latest on the reconciliation bills in Congress? House GOP members met with the president today as they scramble to get a budget deal put together. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Chaleos. Breaking news on KSL News Radio. We are hearing that 3 schools in the Davis School District have been put under secure protocol while Layton police negotiate with the man who barricaded himself in a nearby neighborhood. Police say they are handling a domestic situation at the Seasons of Layton apartment complex on Heelfield Road. Now, they say a man is alone in the complex and fired a gun, but no one has been injured. The school is under a secure protocol. The schools, rather, that are under secure protocol are Northridge High School, North Layton Junior High, and Lincoln Elementary. We will continue to bring you the very latest. KSL's top national story this hour: a Seattle federal judge has blocked the Trump administration's efforts to end birthright citizenship again.
U.S. District Judge John Kuhnauer, a Reagan appointee, issued a preliminary injunction barring the administration from denying citizenship to the children of immigrants. And he was particularly harsh in his criticism, saying, quote, "It has become ever more apparent that to our president, the rule of law is but an impediment to his policy goals," end quote. The hearing lasted less than 20 minutes, and the injunction applies nationwide. The Trump administration has said it plans to appeal. Jeff Pozela, ABC News, Seattle.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, headed into the close, the Dow down 126 points, about 0.25%, an improvement from earlier today. The S&P 500 up by 22, and the NASDAQ up by 100 points. We have big problems at the point of the mountain, emergency traffic coverage. We've had a freeway closure. We'll check that coming up next.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
It's the Advanced Window Products President's Day sale. If the cold is seeping in through your old windows, Advanced Window Products will install state-of-the-art double-pane windows with insulated frames. Your home will take on an exciting new look, and you're going to save on your heating bill. And not for nothing, your air conditioning in summer. And right now, with the President's Day sale, you save $2,500 off 10 windows or more. For 38 years, Advanced Windows has been building beautiful custom windows and frames right here in Utah. There's no middleman, so you save. So keep out the cold, cut down your energy bills, and save $2,500 with one call to Advanced Window Products. 801-850-9100. An expert comes out for a no-pressure consultation. They'll tell you about the payment plans, including no payments for 24 months. The Advanced Window Products President's Day sale. Get $2,500 off. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or just go to advancedwindows.com.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Emergency traffic coverage. It's brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. And Ricky, I understand that I misspoke. The freeway's not closed, just some lanes of the freeway are closed.
The right lanes are closed on northbound I-15 as authorities remain on the scene investigating this deadly accident northbound I-15 at the point of the mountain. It's only 2 left lanes of travel that are open. So with that much space taken down from the freeway, we have unusually heavy delays, and these are stop-and-go speeds at a crawl at times, otherwise completely stopped. It's a parking lot back to Lehigh Main Street. Again, a crash scene investigation is expected to last at least 2 hours. We were told this one could be 3 hours. So we're still looking at least 3 o'clock minimum, and that's generous, before we see these lanes opened. If you're traveling northbound on I-15 coming from Utah County into the Salt Lake County area, you need to avoid northbound I-15. Use an alternate frontage road. You'll see delays, but you're moving. If you make your way west on 2100 North and go northbound on Redwood Road, heavy traffic on both of those as well, but at least you're not stopped in these delays, which will last approximately 65 to 70 minutes. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The high today and tomorrow in the 50s, but then things changing big time. Starting Saturday, our temperature drops to the 40s, and then we're in the 30s for next week. Right now, 44 degrees downtown. I'm Maria Chaleos from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. A new presidency, new state leaders, and a new legislative session. Utah's top political experts discuss the day's biggest stories. Only on KSL News Radio.
Do you know it's coming in fast, Adam Gardner? March 14th. And do you know what March 14th is?
March Madness.
It could be March Madness.
End of the legislative session.
Yeah, right. Could be Pie Day. Do you eat pie on March 14th? It is government shutdown time because we have to have this conversation because Congress is so functional, right? They are incapable of actually writing a budget for an entire fiscal year. They've got to do a continuing resolution. And there are tough conversations, Adam, between House Republicans and President Trump today. They were trying to get onto the same page with the budget. So House Republicans are still split on the number of reconciliation bills to run. One big, beautiful bill, which I thought Donald Trump wanted, the president wanted, but maybe he's a little agnostic as to what it should be, or to run two. There's a deadline looming. The Senate is over there saying, you all cannot get your stuff in order. We are just going to do this for you, and are looking at ways to get their own budget started. It is a hot mess. When we think about the meeting today between House Republicans and President Trump, we've got to talk about how those lawmakers are looking to have the president settle the divides in their party. So let's listen to ABC coverage on what was going on.
You have conservatives who want to cut as much as $2.5 trillion in this budget. You have moderates and more competitive districts who don't, frankly, want to cut anything because they're concerned about their reelection. And Republicans are hoping Donald Trump will come in and sort of weigh in to get people singing from the same song sheet. The problem here is Donald Trump just wants victories. When it comes to the policy minutia, oftentimes he doesn't really care what it looks like. And so Republicans are trying to sort of pin him down.
How do you feel about that? And that's such a wide open question. I apologize to do that to you, Adam. But is it ever a good thing to have House leadership going to the president, to have the president tell House party members what to do?
Well, I think the reason this matters, Leah, is because so many of the constituents in these Republican districts it is all or nothing. I was following some of the nominees by President Trump, and I'm looking at what right-wing commentators have been saying. And 6 months ago, it was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the devil. He's the worst thing since, he'll never get confirmed. We should shun this guy. And then when he gets nominated, those exact same commentators are saying, if he doesn't get confirmed, then you're not a real Republican. And we've just created this tension within the Republican Party where a lot of members want to do the right thing. A lot of congressmen, men and women, want to do the right thing, but they're afraid of their constituents, and they're afraid we don't know what Trump wants. And if we vote the wrong way and Trump says, I don't like what you did, but won't give direction, it puts them in a really tough spot. And so whenever we hear, we had the White House, we had the Senate, we had the House of Representatives, this should be cut and dry, we can do whatever we want. No, you can't. It's really difficult. In the Senate, you got to get 60 votes for most things, but on reconciliation, you do not. You only need 51 or 50, and then the vice president. And on the House side, you only have 3 or 4 members that can break away. And if you're saying, like Trump wants, that you need to add the debt ceiling increase, when you're running out of money, you need to raise the debt ceiling for money you've already spent. And there's 10, 20 members that don't want that ever to be in a bill. What do you do? And the answer is, I have no clue. So I get why Speaker Johnson wants to go and have Trump explain what he actually wants. But it's hard because, like the reporter said, he doesn't care what happens. He wants the outcome. He doesn't care how you get there. I want to win.
All right. So Axios has an exclusive kind of reporting on what the list of what President Trump told House GOP leaders. So the leaders who met with him included Speaker Mike Johnson, Majority Leader Steve Scalise, and Majority Whip Tom Emmer. I don't know if Blake Moore was there because I know he's in Republican leadership. I'm only seeing those top-of-line names.
He probably wouldn't have been there for that meeting.
Okay. And what we hear are the priorities from Axios. Trump is pushing to renew his 2017 tax cut bill. He would like to eliminate special tax breaks for sports teams owners, close the carried interest tax deduction. He wants to get rid of taxes on tips, ending taxes on Social Security benefits, ending taxes on overtime pay. All of those sound, like easy So what
They're
is-
not.
Okay, tell me why. Like,
They're
what is the
not.
hang-up?
So you
Yeah.
have like the SALT cap, the state and local tax deduction, which is really tough because they kind of cap that at $10,000. And when they cap that, that took out Republicans in New York and Illinois and other places in blue states that are really expensive where Republicans actually have districts there. That gets tough because they want to get rid of the SALT cap tax. And so you put them in a weird spot, and they're going to compete against someone in a red state who wants the cap. And then you say no taxes on tips, which whether you're for it or against it,
Right, because remember, Kamala Harris was for that. So that was like a Trump pitch in his campaign that she also said. I mean,
Yep,
again, that's when I say
she
feels
took it right
easy.
over.
Right, feels easy, but no.
But I don't think so because I
Okay.
think I'm just thinking if you know anything about the economy and how you're going to do tax deductions, I am a consultant. I am a lobbyist in my profession. I don't know if I can say, you know what, I work for free, but only on tips. You can tip me if you want. And are those taxed? Are we just saying the service industry? I don't know how they're going to actually do this, and I don't know if he cares about the particulars, but I think there's going to be enough members of the Republican Party in Congress that are going to say, this is just bad policy. So I don't know how we can have multiple things that are bad policy in one bill, one big, beautiful bill, and raise the debt ceiling. It's just really hard to get through. So the more we call them Christmas tree bills, the more things you stick in this, the more ornaments you put on the tree, the heavier it gets, and it's not going to pass.
Do you feel like the fact that March 14th is coming, right? Like that is next month.
God, it's so fast.
Right, so fast. Do you feel like that just makes all of that drama heightened? And I also, your point, and Axios' point, and what we heard from ABC earlier, right? Like it is the case that Donald Trump just wants victories. Maybe he doesn't quite get that in the minutia there are all of these problems.
Yeah, and you know, I remember hearing when they first passed the tax bill in like 2017, members of the Senate were getting on the phone with Trump and saying, we want this in there. You need to put this. What are you going to do about this? And his response was always, I don't care. Figure it out. Like, these are the things I care about. Whatever you guys want to throw in there that you think you can get past, do it. I don't care. And it's hard to work with a president who doesn't have those sticky priorities.
Yeah. All right. Next up on Inside Sources, Adam, following President Trump's comments on the U.S. taking over the Gaza Strip, the whole world had feelings about it. We're going to chat about that after these messages.
Join the smartest conversation in Utah, the team of analysts and political advisors that make up Inside Sources. Get unfiltered analysis of the new administration, the president's cabinet, and Utah's upcoming legislative session. Inside Sources, weekdays from 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Discover the thrill of winter adventure with Bear Lake Ski Shoring the Bear. Join us for an unforgettable experience on February 21st and 22nd. Whether you're a participant or a spectator, there's excitement for everyone. Spectators get in free, so bring your friends and family to cheer on the competitors. The action kicks off with the first round of races Friday, leading up to the exhilarating final round on Saturday. The top 10 competitors will return to battle it out for the ultimate glory. With no pre-registration needed, simply show up and sign a waiver to join the fun. Compete for a chance to win buckles, cash, and prizes in various divisions. Feel the rush, embrace the challenge, and be part of this unique winter spectacle. Don't miss out on this exciting event. Sign up for Ski Shoring and experience the thrill of racing through the snow. For more information, visit bearlake.org. See you at Ski Shoring the Bear.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Heads up, Utah County drivers, you need to avoid northbound I-15 if you're trying to go from Lehigh to Draper. A fatal crash at the point of the mountain on northbound I-15 is still causing delays of well over an hour. 3 right lanes are expected to remain blocked for another few hours, taking us into the drive home as crews are still they're investigating the scene. Alternate routes like Redwood Road and the Frontage Road are also seeing overflow delays. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Copiers, printers, service, and supplies are just the beginning. Les Olson IT is the premier source for your business's structured cabling, IT, software, telephones, and security systems. We partner with you to find the ideal solution to all of your office technology needs. Tell us your goals and we'll get you there. Find out more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1902 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 300 of these Morgan silver dollars are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-806-1641, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar, featuring the iconic old mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. But with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1902 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 122 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-806-1641. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-806-1641 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-806-1641.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Inside Sources.
Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
President Trump's comments on a possible takeover continue to spark debate and concern among world leaders and those in Congress, including some Republicans. So we're talking about the takeover of Gaza. That I think caught a lot of people by surprise. The president posted on Truth Social this morning, clarifying his comments about needing U.S. soldiers in Gaza. But some Republicans are now saying they're concerned about focusing on international stuff like this instead of America first. And if you remember, Leah, when President Trump ran, he was saying, I was the one that got out of forever wars. I was pulling us out of the Middle East. He made the deal with the Taliban. He invited the Taliban to Camp David to talk about getting out of Afghanistan, and he actually negotiated with the Taliban and created that May deadline that then President Biden used and totally dwindled down in Iraq. But he has no problem bombing ISIS, helping out in other areas of the Middle East. He's talking about going into South Africa now because some farmers are losing their farmland to the state and some are being killed, and he's saying we will not tolerate this in South Africa. Just so happens Elon Musk is from South Africa, so I wonder if that has anything to do with it. And so he's he's not walking this back, because President Trump does not walk things back, and he does not apologize. He just says, no, this is what I meant from the very beginning. You should have known that. And so his America First approach is kind of maybe dividing the Republicans. And so we're starting to hear a little bit of the reaction from Republicans and from other news outlets. Let's hear from ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers as she talks about what the president said today.
President Trump said in a social media post, quote, no soldiers by the U.S. would be needed for his proposal for the U.S. to take over the Gaza Strip. The president Tuesday night said he would send U.S. troops, quote, if necessary. In his post, he says that Gaza would be turned over to the U.S. by Israel at the conclusion of the fighting. He reiterated that Palestinians there, nearly 2 million people, would be resettled in what he calls far safer and more beautiful communities. Egypt and Jordan have firmly rejected any resettlement in their countries, and there's been strong pushback in the region to the president's proposal. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
So here's my question for you. Is this the thing that finally makes it that people, I don't want to say divorce, that's not too strong of a word, but like I'm thinking about Senator Rand Paul saying, I thought we voted for America first on X. We have no business contemplating yet another occupation to doom our treasure and spill our soldiers' blood. We've got Senator Chris Van Hollen saying this is ethnic cleansing by another name. We've got Senator Lisa Murkowski saying U.S. forces into a region that has seen enough turmoil. I don't even want to speculate to that question. Like, is this the thing that, so I guess how do I'm old, right, Adam? And my memory of Republicans all growing up was they would be the ones who would take over Gaza. You're like, that would be the party that would want to be internationally running the show, being, the world police. Think of George W. Bush and preemptive wars, right? Like we were going to lean in and do things first. But Trump's position, and people voted for him, this America First position, like you said earlier, pulling out of wars, not being in charge of things. And then I don't know, man, it's like Greenland, it's like Panama, it's like Gaza. Gaza's like huge. I feel like a step in a direction of not sounding like what Republicans who voted for Trump might have wanted. Does this maybe start causing some criticism, that we don't usually see for President Trump?
Look, you mentioned Greenland. It has 70,000 people that live there. So huge place, very dependent nation. Not a lot of people live there, but it's of strategic value to the United States. And so he wants to buy it, get more involved, whatever. So that kind of makes sense because there's a strategic value. Panama signed on with the Belt and Road Initiative with China. They operate 2 ports, one to the north, one to the south of the Panama Canal. That's scary. That is strategic that we don't want China involved.
And that's a China thing, right?
That's a China thing.
Right.
So it's for our national security. So when Trump goes on and says, I want to take over Greenland, I want to take over the Panama Canal again, it gives us leverage to negotiate. And Marco Rubio proved that when he went down to Panama, his first stop, and negotiated with the Panamanian president. And they said, we're pulling out of the Belt and Road Initiative from China. We're going to pull back from our relationship with China. And we're going to do all these other things to ensure that the United States has plenty of access. Great. That is strategic value.
And that feels America first.
And that feels America
okay,
first.
Yep.
But when you say we're going to take over Gaza and it will be the Riviera of the Middle East, which I don't know what that means, and I'm just picturing a Trump Tower like in Rafah,
right.
Right on the Mediterranean. What strategic value are we getting out of being there? Not only that, we can't just clean up and build. There are 2 million Palestinians that live there. We can't force them out. They can't live side by side with Israel. Like what? How do you do this without troops? Do you force Israel then to move out and create another exodus of 2 million Palestinians? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm just picturing the news of watching women and children walking across the desert, maybe for 40 years. And just in a different way of where do they go? Jordan has had Palestinians before. They don't want them there because they started blowing up everything in Jordan to get them to go to war with Israel. They were bullies, and the king of Jordan called them bullies. And after some of the wars, Egypt puts up a giant fence, a giant border. We're not taking any more refugees. We're done doing this. And so where are they going to go? How much is this going to cost? How many troops are going to be involved? So I think we're living in fantasy land here when he's saying this, but I don't think that MAGA folks will say, will start criticizing him openly. I think they're going to be like, we're chalking this up to one of those things that Trump just says, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. A Reuters Ipsos poll taken January 20th, following President Trump's inauguration, but before we're going to go to Gaza, found that 15% of Republicans supported the idea of the U.S. using military force. So I guess the answer is we're going to go into Gaza and not use the military is what I'm hearing, like the press secretary say. I just don't buy it. I don't know how you're in the Middle East managing anything without our military. So I'm imagining Republicans don't buy it either. You know, you were saying earlier on a different topic, right? We were talking about in the last segment the GOP meeting with Trump over like tax cuts, right? And how we manage that. What we have is Speaker Johnson saying it's a bold plan. We've got Representative Tim Burchett, who's the member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, saying he supports the suggestion. But if only 15% of Republicans support it, is that a disconnect, or is it the same that what you said earlier? It's impossible to know what, right? You never know where these voters are going to move on a particular issue. You would use the example of RFK Jr. Is this the same kind of thing? So you're hearing kind of mixed messages as they figure it out?
Well, I think you have to look at the language that some of these Republicans are using that support him. So let's look at House Speaker Mike Johnson. He praised the plan as bold, decisive action to try and secure the peace of that region. And then he says, I think people need to understand the necessity of it, and kind of pulls back. It's worth consideration. We're going to talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu when he comes to the Capitol. We're going to stand with the president and his initiative, but I also, we got to be worried about forever wars. And so you got to look at what Trump is looking for is who is loyal. And Speaker Johnson is going to be loyal to President Trump. Whether it happens or what happens behind closed doors or what gets pulled back, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, and the thing is, I keep wondering, what is the step too far? So for me, Senator Rand Paul saying, this doesn't sound America first. Your point so well taken from earlier, Adam. I didn't think Greenland or Panama sounded America first, but you made a good case for it, right? So I'm like, I didn't hear that when I was hearing it, but all right, I'm with you. But I got to feel like you'd have to do a lot of splaining to make Gaza feel like it's America first, right? And
I agree. And I also don't know how this, sure, it benefits Israel if you don't have to deal with Hamas on your western flank.
Doesn't benefit the United States to be dealing with Hamas.
But it doesn't benefit the United States. I don't see how this is in America's best interest or America first. But if Trump is still posting on X and Truth Social, we're going to find out what he really means and how far he's actually going to take this thing. Next on Inside Sources, let's take a look at Democrats and see if they've changed their tune since losing pretty badly in the November election. Has their messaging changed with all the new Trump presidency? Stick around to hear the discussion.
Good afternoon, 2:30 at KSL. I'm Jeff Kaplan. KSL's top local story this hour. Developing news, Layton police are on the scene of an apartment complex after a man barricaded himself inside the Seasons of Layton apartment complex. Police say the man's wife called 911 after he fired his gun. They say they're not sure if he fired directly at her or not. Meantime, the Davis School District says Northridge High, North Layton Junior High, and Lincoln Elementary have all locked their outside doors while negotiations continue. KSL News Time, 2:31. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The state of Illinois and the city of Chicago are facing a lawsuit from the Justice Department over its sanctuary city policies. Border Czar Tom Homan says they're just getting started.
We're about 14,000 arrests, and about 76% of them are criminals. That's to target the operation.
The lawsuit accuses the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago of getting in the way of ICE and federal agents as they enforce immigration laws. Your money at this moment on Wall Street, the Dow is down 125 points at the close. Coming up, it's going to get wet and cold. KSL weather's on the way next. KSL News Time, 2:32.
At JCW's, we think tipping might be getting a little out of hand. Like when you're asked to tip at the register before you've even been served, or when you're at the yogurt shop and find yourself serving yourself. And don't even get us started on frosted tips making a comeback. That's why at JCW's, when you pay for a 3rd-pound ranch bacon cheeseburger, that's what you pay. And no one at the register is going to stare longingly at you while you awkwardly maneuver through the tip screen for food you don't even have yet. Honestly, we're just happy to see you at any of our 5 locations in Provo, South Jordan, Lehigh, Harriman, and American Fork. So come on in and enjoy some quality time and great food with family and friends. And we promise, we won't be pushing you for a tip.
Hey, this is Chris with JCW's, and we just want to say thank you, and especially to our loyal customers. We want you to know that at JCW's, your business is all the tip we need. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Don't miss the Dave's Bernina Super Weekend Sale at their Provo and St. George locations. Save up to $2,500 on Bernina long arm machines. The B500 and 700 models start as low as $1,999.
Come see the Bernina 990, the most amazing revolutionary sewing machine in the world.
All machines are on sale. Below 2.9 interest for 60 months.
Amazing bargains on trade-ins, classroom, and demo machines. Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
It's emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Here's Ricky Meese.
We're looking at 75 to 90 minutes plus of delays trying to get from Utah County into Salt Lake County on northbound I-15, where a fatal accident has closed multiple right lanes of traffic at the point of the mountain. Again, if you're trying to get from Lehigh to Bluffdale, you need to delay your travel time or allow a lot of extra travel time and leave early, or maybe consider an alternate route. But if you choose to use Frontage Road or Redwood Road, you'll see overflow delays there as well. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL forecast of cold fronts moving in. We're heading down to 29 overnight with rain that could turn to wet snow by tomorrow morning, but not much accumulation. Right now, 44 degrees. I'm Jeff Kaplan from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Adam, I feel like we picked on President Trump and the Republicans a little bit in the last couple of segments, so let's just pivot and pick on the Democrats, who have maybe a long 4 years ahead of them, maybe just 2, depends on how that midterm goes.
It's going to be 4.
In a couple of years. But here's the question. I feel that Democrats are so deep in a hole politically, so I'll just kind of use, a sports metaphor. forever, for decades, there had always been more Democrats in the country vis-a-vis party ID, right? So you'd show up like, what are the percentages of Americans who think they are Republican versus the percentages of Americans that think they are Democrat? And it was always Democrats had a little bit more. In the last 3 years of Gallup polling, it's exactly even. So Republicans have pulled even with the Democrats in identification. So that's not voting, right? It's just, what party are you? Just what brand do you like? I feel that, plus this major wipeout in the 2024 election, would be a signal to me if I were coaching this team to go recruiting new talent, right? I'd be looking for, what are the trades I need to make to get, good draft picks down the line. I think one of the first questions, and I want to go after Democrats with you, is that I don't think Democrats acknowledge they are actually in a hole. So when you watch, like over the weekend, the DNC chose their new party chair, you can kind of see how a party decides, right? Like, what does this look like? I don't think in the choice of their new party chair, they've acknowledged anything that they've done wrong.
No, they ran on the same losing playbook.
Go for it.
It was so obnoxious to watch. Well, that's a lie. I'm a Republican. It was awesome to watch. But here's what I found interesting.
Okay.
The DNC chair is coming from Minnesota, and he said, we've got the right message. What we need to do is connect back with the voters. Okay, well, then you don't have the right message if you're not connecting with the voters. So you don't get it. Then you have David Hogg, that 24-year-old, as the new that just go. Let's make the National Rifle Association a terrorist organization. Let's defund the cops, defund ICE. Awesome, you're gonna win. You're gonna win bigly with this message. And he's trying to get Gen Z voters. Gen Z voters don't like this. They don't like that message. I am convinced. So you have all of the party leadership. The Senate minority leader, the House leadership, they're all backing this guy, Ken Martin from Minnesota, when he's running against a guy from Colorado, which is more of a swing state, who actually almost within just 100 or 2 votes lost to Lauren Boebert. So he almost took out this seat, and he did it off of a pretty good message, a hardcore Republican seat. It wasn't a swing district. Like, he had a real chance. And he got 5% of the vote in the first round. So I'm having a tough time just watching this. I also see when Maxine Waters from the House of Representatives from California on the Banking Committee and Chuck Schumer from New York, old-time Jon Stewart on The Daily Show did a great bit about, like, this is the guy that's leading our party. And to show how young and hip he is, he wears these glasses and puts them on the very bottom of his nose.
Yeah.
Now, children. And they were chanting at some protest against Elon Musk, holding hands, raising them up in the air and saying, we will win. We will. What are you going to win? What are you even fighting about? What is your message to the American people?
So let me ask you a question, because I was listening to The Daily today, and they were talking about having interviewed the new DNC party chair, who is persuaded that it's not policy, like all of their policy positions are fine, that it's just messaging, which is kind of where you went. You're like, they don't even have, like, the messaging they don't get. Do you think behind it, is their policy good? So I guess my point is, I'm not persuaded when you've got party ID, right? Because when we talk about party, it's a brand, right? Like, it's what do the Democrats stand for? If it is the case that we stand for really good policy, even if our messaging was a little kitty-wumpus, right? Like, it might be the case that you wouldn't have Republicans pulling even. So I'm not sure it's about messaging. I think it's possible it's policy problems,
yes,
right?
I agree.
Okay, so yeah, go.
So I agree with you completely. Usually when you're running in a primary, you run to the right if you're a Republican, you run to the left if you're a Democrat, and then once you get the nomination, you kind of run to the middle. This election, there was no running to the middle. Last election, there was. Biden ran to the middle. He didn't govern in the middle, but he ran in the middle and saying, let's just be friends. This has been too crazy. We're going to do something totally different. America said, okay, yeah, we're kind of sick about this. Let's try something different. And he governed as a huge progressive. And this time it was progressive versus far right. And those don't really mesh. Like, most of the American people can't get on board with the progressive message and are saying, okay, let's swing back. And this whole immigration thing, we wanted to be friendly towards immigrants, but also keep out the criminals. And then Biden governed as we didn't keep out the criminals. We didn't keep out anybody. Everyone could just come here and do whatever they want. And so it was a horrible situation. So those folks that are kind of in the middle are saying, well, I can't do another 4 years of this. Let's go back to the other side. And you don't see the Democratic Party saying, hey, we need to change our tune on immigration, except I'll say, with this just popped into my head, Senator Fetterman. He's the one saying on the Laken Riley Act, if we can't pass the Laken Riley Act and Democrats don't vote for this, what are we doing? We don't understand why we lost it all. And the Laken Riley Act passed overwhelmingly with Democratic support.
So tell me, do you think then that means, is there a disconnect between people who are running for office and people who are chosen by delegates in the Democratic Party, right? So if I am Fetterman running, and I've actually spoken to people in Pennsylvania, right? Like I might actually be thinking, no, I got to pass this act. If we can't pass the Laken Riley Act, there's an issue. Whereas maybe the people who are chosen by delegates for the Democratic Party just are not, they're tone deaf, maybe is the way to say that.
Well, so in the Republican Party, you just get elected on your state level. So I was an alternate delegate this year at the Republican National Convention. I just put my name on a ballot to be an alternate delegate and got elected. That was it. I didn't have to give a speech or do anything. People just voted. Delegates in the state of Utah voted for national delegates. It's very, very different in the Democratic Party because you don't just have put your name on a ballot and let's go. You have a certain number of delegates that are union. You have to have a certain number that are Hispanic. You have to have a certain number that are black. You have to have a certain number that are teachers or like whatever. You guys have created this. I'm blaming you.
Yeah.
Listen, Leah, here's why you're wrong. You have created this like DEI mecca, and that's how you govern.
So it's identity politics, right?
Bingo.
And again, one of the fights, because they had you have to have equal numbers of women and men, and a lengthy conversation at the DNC over this weekend about how that keeps out non-binary people who don't identify.
Oh, just that would never happen in the Republican
Right, but
Party.
a little bit you say, again, you are now having a conversation that in no way translates or resonates to Fetterman's constituents.
Right.
Or, the next Senate we're going to be talking about is Ossoff in Georgia, right? So that guy's going to have to run a race in Georgia trying to win in 2 years. How is that conversation about which identities count the most or count the least or count at all translate economically into a Georgia conversation? Again, what I saw this weekend shows they don't know that they're in a hole. They're incapable of understanding how to get out of it.
First step is realizing you have a problem.
That's right.
Leah.
The first step is realizing you've got a problem. All right. In our final segment on today's Inside Sources, we're coming back to Utah. Let's talk about another bill on the Hill. It's sports adjacent. My producer is going to let me talk a little bit about sports with Adam. Deals with protecting referees. Stay with us.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man. High five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Woo. Up top, Bike Shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo.
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Again, we have a parking lot on northbound I-15 in Utah County. We're asking drivers, think about this before you hit the road. Traffic is at a standstill. starting in Lehigh just after the Main Street junction, Lehigh Main Street, and it continues all the way up to where we have the fatal accident being investigated, which has 3 right lanes blocked on northbound I-15 at the point of the mountain. Overflow delays are pretty heavy now on Frontage Road and 2100 North going westbound to get to Redwood Road. Again, consider delaying your travel time or leave way early. I would say 75 to 90 minutes minimum to get through this mess, or find a different alternate route, but bring your patience there. Again, if you can avoid northbound I-15 from Lehigh Main Street to the point of the mountain, consider doing so. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Camping season is right around the corner, and Motorsportsland is throwing a huge RV party in the KZ RV Mega Tent. Come and check out hundreds of the newest RVs, RV accessories, and enjoy exciting activities including kids' movie nights, RV seminars, on-site radio events, yard games, live bands, food trucks, and did we mention over $30,000 in giveaways? Event sponsors include KZ RV, Owned by Cummins, Suburban RV Appliances, Lion Energy, Lippert, Top Big Game Outfitters, Equalizer, and many more. Free admission, free seminars, and free activities. No need to wait for a show. Buy your RV at Motorsportsland this week in confidence with our best price guarantee for 2 weeks after your purchase. Check out motorsportsland.com for event schedule and guarantee details. Adventure awaits at Motorsportsland's Mega Tent RV event.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
4001 South State.
Are you in search of a fulfilling career where you can work on a team that provides you room to grow, learn, and thrive every day? Focus Engineering and Surveying is looking for individuals to join their team who take pride in the customer service they provide and have a passion for their clients to be successful. No experience in engineering, CAD design, or surveying? No problem. Focus will train those who fit their team culture for rewarding careers in surveying and CAD design. If you can align with the core ideology and the Focus team culture, if you're internally driven, team-oriented, client-focused, and love personal development and growth, Focus Engineering and Surveying is the place for you. Enjoy a positive work environment and paid internship opportunities, plus fantastic benefits like great health care with 80% employer-paid premium and HSA matched up to $200 per month, 401k, vacation, even annual performance bonuses. Start your journey towards your new and fulfilling career. Apply now at FocusUtah.com. That's FocusUtah.com.
All in together now, we can make it better. Can we do it? We won't it up.
Cause we know how to jump. Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
Inside Sources on KSL News Radio. Eye on the Hill 2025. Special coverage on Inside Sources.
You don't need to tell us, but be honest with yourself. Have you ever gotten mad at a youth sports referee? If so, Leah's got some words for you.
I've got feelings. A little bit, I just want to say, you should never be yelling at any referees. Actually, let's pause. Because this weekend is the Super Bowl. I'm going to watch it. I'm assuming you will too,
It's
Adam.
the Chiefs. I'm going to be yelling about referees.
Because you're going to say...
Because they're all going to be wrong.
Okay, so you're going to yell at the referees,
yes,
modeling excellent behavior in front of your children watching the Super Bowl with you.
Oh, crap. I you got me there.
I got you. But what? Oh, because they're going to say, you bought into the conspiracy theory that the Chiefs always get all the best calls?
I don't buy into conspiracy theories because this one's real.
Okay.
So it's not like a conspiracy. It's happening.
All right. So a little bit, that is grown-ups. Those are professional referees. But
And I'm yelling at a TV.
Right, and they can't hear you, so
Yeah,
maybe
they
it's
can't
okay. But even then, I'm kind of like, really, that's not. If your team doesn't play well enough, right, and it comes down to a call, that's on the team. The team needed to do a better job of making sure they could overcome one or two kind of missed calls in a game. What we're talking about is this bill from State Representative John Hawkins talking about youth sports referees, right? So let's listen to him talking about the motivations.
I've seen referees, 14, 15-year-old kids that are being attacked by parents and coaches that are adults.
So let me ask you a question, Adam, so just get me right on this. The bill is about youth sports referees, but I think what I just heard him saying, it's actually about young referees, right? So if there are sports that hire teenagers to be the referees, or is the bill about referees in youth sports, right? So I'm trying to figure out what is the modifier.
No, I think it's youth sports leagues.
Okay.
But some of the time, those both go together. So when I was 16, 17, and 18, while I was in high school, I refereed baseball and basketball in Layton City Youth Sports. Loved my job. It was awesome. And I remember
in baseball, were you the home ump or were you out in the field?
I was out in the field.
Okay, I love it.
I did balls and strikes. I was terrible at it because I would be so like, no, this is in the box. And parents would be like, this is where I thought it was okay to be yelled at as a ref, where they would be like, they're 10 years old, you have to give them a strike. They have to have a
strike
bigger
zone
strike
is from
zone.
the forehead
and you're
to the
like,
toes.
I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, maybe I'm being a little too hard on these kids, and so I'd kind of shift and change. But my scariest experience was we were refereeing the 5th grade city championship game of rec junior jazz, and it came down to the final call. And I made the final call, which was correct. I don't remember what it was, but I know I was right.
I'm sure you were right.
And parents were livid to where they had a police officer who just watches, is just around in case anything happens. And there's 6-7 games going on at the same time. And the cop ran up to me and said, "We're taking you into the back room," because parents were so livid that it came down.
And how old were you? You were 15?
I think I was probably 16 or 17.
16.
So it was crazy. And you can't make yelling at a ref against the law. That's just not going to happen. You can kick them out and they can be trespassed, whatever. But this issue, according to State Representative Hawkins, this issue is really affecting our kids. And so it seems we're going to play these next 2 clips to talk about kind of the impetus of the bill.
We're losing referees, and when we lose referees, our kids are the ones that suffer. And so, let's protect our referees the best we can. The purpose of this bill is to maybe just help people think twice.
So the idea is, what is he saying? So people like you, I love this personal story that you shared, Adam. So you get screamed at. Did you ref again?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were like, bring it on.
I'm in politics. I was into politics when I was 17. When you come at me, I come at you too.
You're excited,
and
right?
So
yeah.
it got me kind of pumped up. Where it was hard was when you're first starting, you don't quite know the rules. It takes the preseason games. The kids are learning to how to be a team, and the refs are learning how to actually call these plays. What's the hand signal? Am I pointing the right way for offense and defense? And you mess up, and it's tough, and that's when it gets really hard. What he's doing here is he's saying if you are attacking these refs, then it's going to be a problem.
So not yelling, but it does say it's an aggregating factor for an assault or a threat of violence offense committed against a referee. So I guess if I yelled at you, I'm going to get you? That sounds like a threat. Does that make sense, Adam? Maybe...
Well, it'd have to be assault or threatening violence. So
Okay.
And in youth sports, that would be witnessed by a whole number of people. Like most likely, it's going to be filmed too. We see all over Instagram and Twitter if a coach or a parent runs up to a ref and gets in their face, we can hear everything they're saying. I guess that's the advantage of it being of living in the internet age here. So he's just saying the purpose of this bill is to make people think twice. There was a ref in, I believe it was Salt Lake City. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago, if you remember. A referee was reffing a soccer game, and a parent was upset and punched the ref in the face. The ref was in, I think, his 50s, and he died as a result of that punch. I do remember this.
Yeah.
And so it's not just these one-off things. And I kind of equate it to a road rage incident. They're normal, rational people who, when they get into a competitive atmosphere, become irrational.
You know, my son is now playing on his high school basketball team, and they start every home game with the let the kids play, let the refs ref, you know what I mean? And the parents just cheer, and it's a whole, right? Like they're trying to set a frame for what we're doing here is to cheer. But your point's so well taken. I will just share. My daughter was in the Ogden Rec 3rd grade girls championship team, and they won.
Just a hotbed of competition.
Yeah, right? So I love that you say that. And I'm at this game, and I yelled the entire time. My voice gone. Looked up, and the score was 7-6. And I was like, what game was I watching that I've been yelling for I know, and it was basketball. So you're not wrong. Like really reasonable people, right, get into that situation. And when people who have kids lose all sorts of reasons.
And you brought up a good point, and I think what is happening here is we're teaching this type of behavior to our kids.
Right.
As we go and we harass coaches or other players, other kids on the other team, or referees, we're teaching our kids that behavior is okay. And I realized that I didn't like to necessarily be yelled at when I was a ref, but when I played junior jazz, I yelled all the time. My friends, we yelled all the time at refs. You got to be kidding me. This is what a bull crap call. I mean, we never threatened violence. We never got up in their face. But it just your competitive spirit would make you just a little bit irrational. And so I really applaud what he's trying to do here. He's not saying if you lay a finger on a ref, it's now a 1st-degree felony. He's not going overboard with this. He's just making people think twice, and I think that's totally the right approach.
Do you think junior jazz, and my kids did junior jazz forever, do they add, as a result of this language, something to their good sportsmanship? Does that make like maybe they have language for the parents, like contracts or whatever?
Sure, I hope so. And I hope maybe the easiest way to fend this off is to just say, you know what, we're going to start enforcing this a little bit more. So the problem is when there's a road rage incident, it's someone cuts someone off and then they retaliate. And then it's this back and forth until someone does something drastically wrong.
Right.
And so I think, to your point, if you do it in youth sports, if there is very clearly, it's usually one or two parents. I mean, it's not like
and we all know the guy.
We all know who they are. Right. And I go to my kids' games and I'm like, it's that dude every game that has to get a warning.
Right.
And so maybe they just make it a little tougher. And I hope that's what we'll see. So thanks so much for listening to Inside Sources. Join me and Rusty Cannon tomorrow. Next up, Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We're at 45 degrees in Salt Lake City. KSL's top story, the bill that would ban collective bargaining for public employees is now headed to the governor's desk. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson live with the latest. Heather?
Jeff, this bill has been on pause for several days while the sponsors tried to work out a compromise with unions. But Senator Kurt Cullimore says that didn't happen.
But there just hasn't been the consensus that we were hoping for, and that was part of the requirement to look at a substitute.
They were hoping union leaders would say they were neutral on the bill, but not everyone did, so they went back to an earlier version, the one that eliminates unions' ability to bargain on behalf of public employees collectively. Renee Pinkney, president of the Utah Education Association, says this feels like a betrayal.
The passage of HB 267 sub 1 feels like retribution for all, and it is, quite frankly, unfair.
The bill passed the Senate by a vote of 16-13. Pinckney says they will now rally and ask the governor to veto it. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
And we have breaking news on KSL. We're now learning that the man who barricaded himself inside an apartment complex in Layton this afternoon has been found dead. Police say he was not shot by officers. Layton police were called to the Seasons of Layton apartment complex this afternoon after the man's wife called 911. The Davis School District says the 3 nearby schools that locked their doors while police negotiated